Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am that pretty strong BMF, and I want to make a video real quick about the two different kinds of stretching or different modes of stretching. And we want to go over this because these two different kinds of stretches, these categories, they serve different purposes. And as a matter of fact, you might be shooting yourself in the foot, as I like to say, if you're doing one kind over the other for the wrong purpose. So the first kind of stretching is static stretching, and this is what most people think of when they think about stretching. So say you're gonna stretch your shoulder and they're doing like this kind of thing, right? And they're just holding it there. An overhead stretch like this, and they hold it there. That's a static stretch. You just hold the stretch and then you release it whenever you feel like. And it's this kind of stretching in particular that you want to avoid under certain circumstances, ironically. But we'll get back to that in a minute. The second kind of stretching is dynamic stretching, and this is basically the opposite. Instead of holding a position, like holding your hands overhead like this, you would say pump them up and down like this. And this is actually how I prefer to stretch my shoulders rather than just holding the position. This second kind of stretching, the dynamic stretching that I just demonstrated, that's the kind of stretching that you want to do as your warm-up for when you're exercising, you're going to be doing some kind of physical activity. That's actually the kind of stretching that you want to do. You want to do something that involves movement, preferably the kind of movement you're going to be doing for the actual more strenuous activity. It's a warm-up of sorts. And in the case of weight training, the reason I've been kind of advocating for this kind of stretching while you're actually doing your lifts is that you're killing two birds with one stone, so to speak. You're getting the benefits of the stretch for greater mobility, and the stretch, because you're performing it under tension, that is under the weight, that stretch actually facilitates the development of the muscle. So you're doing two things. You're both increasing your flexibility and you're also facilitating the growth of the muscle. So that kind of stretching, again, has those two benefits if you're doing it precisely in that context. If you're not doing it under tension, then you're not really, improving your strength really anymore, but you are still gaining the benefit of the warm-up nonetheless. So let's get back to static stretching, because that's the more, let's say, confounding claim that I'm making, right? Well, it's cool that this is good for warm-ups, but I'm suggesting that static stretching is actually detrimental as a warm-up. Contrary to popular belief, it's detrimental as a warm-up exercise because it actually makes the muscle that you're stretching weaker. And I understand that is it's a strange claim to make, right? Like, oh, just the stretching act, the act of stretching itself makes the muscle weaker, but this is in fact the case. It's pretty well established that if you take an experienced lifter, okay, and let's say they can do 10 reps of some exercise, just use your imagination, just pick an exercise, they can do 10 reps, and they can do their normal 10 reps under normal circumstances, but then you take them and you have them do this stretch first for an extended period of time, and they're doing this static stretch and they're just holding it there. What is likely to happen is that they'll be short 1 or 2 reps over the course of that set because they've just weakened themselves. So this is a really bad idea. You don't want to do this as a warm-up for whether you're exercising per se, say with weights, or you're preparing for your strenuous job in your workplace. So what is static stretching good for, if it's good for anything? Well, one is kind of obvious, right? If you're trying to enhance your talents as a contortionist, then you should be doing those kinds of stretches because that's probably what's going to help the most. No surprise there. So if you're interested in wrapping your foot around the back of your head, I certainly am not. It sounds neither satisfying nor productive. Then by all means go ahead and practice that. But I'll be doing, anything else. But the second benefit, I dare say the more practical benefit of static stretching, is that it aids in rehabilitation. It's for recovery. That's what it's good for. So when should you be performing a static stretch for your shoulders, or let's take your hamstrings, since that's probably a better example. I have two stretching videos now at the point of this recording, and the second is on hamstrings, right? So I'm using the dumbbells and I'm doing a deadlift, and I'm trying to get the tightest, like most intense pull on my hamstrings that I can possibly get as I'm doing the lift. Now, that's the dynamic stretch, right? That's the kind of stretch that's both, again, facilitating the development of the muscle, to it's helping the muscle grow. But you want to do the static stretch for your hamstrings if you do it at all. You don't have to do it. By all means, you don't have to do it. But it can aid in the recovery and therefore the adaptation of the muscle if you do perform a slow and easy static stretch on your hamstrings after the fact. All right, so like I said, that was pretty quick, I think. It's that simple. You got two kinds of stretching: dynamic for your warm-ups, before you exercise, as well as during the exercise. And you've got your static stretches for after the exercise. All right, so I hope that clears a few things up. If you have any questions, or if any of this wasn't unclear, or if I just ramble too much, or I talk too fast, or my hair looks stupid, you get the idea. Put it in the comments and let me know. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.